Hi everyone, I'm Lucia Orikiriza Bariho. I'm from Uganda, southwestern part of Uganda. I'm glad to be seated amidst the great men of God here in Washington, D.C., where I've been longing from childhood to see the great man, Mr. Shaka Ssali. As I'm here in America, also celebrating my success as one of the youngest innovators in Uganda. Mr. Shaka Ssali, I have one simple question to ask you. In your observations from what you've been seeing from Uganda, as women we are striving to economically empower ourselves and others. What are your observations now?
Well, before I attempt to answer your question, Rusia, I would like to say that I am profoundly honored and exceedingly humbled to have the opportunity to sit next to you. Because to be very honest with you, a kid that comes from the same place that I come from, cover, of course, southwestern Uganda, it's incredible the kind of things that you are involved in. You've made a tremendous, incredible contribution, for example, to the economy of Uganda. You are, in fact, a step closer to perhaps sending a very clear message that Uganda can, in fact, be self-reliant, self-sufficient in terms of using its own local resources. So I have to be honest with you that I'm remarkably impressed.
Thank you so much
for your efforts, and I certainly wish you a lot of success. And I hope that at some point you will even be huge and huger to the extent that you'll actually be providing this type of bags to the East African community, but perhaps even going beyond that and actually providing to COMESA and perhaps the entire African continent. You're most welcome.
So now, as you've been seeing that sometimes women or young ladies from Africa, especially from rural areas, sometimes they lose hope that they cannot succeed in life. What do you advise such a lady from an African tradition where she has been able to come from the village and she's striving to economically advance in business and also in other spheres of life?
You know, Rusia, one thing that I have learned in interacting with you, frankly, is that yes, you are an ordinary lady, ordinary woman, ordinary human being who has been able to do extraordinary things, things that not only empower women, but actually things that empower the entire population. I think that you can go a step further and begin to, in a way, to inspire. You become a positive role model to the young girls who are coming up, showing them the things that you have been able to accomplish, telling them the journey that you have been able to travel. And, you know, hopefully, as I say in the media, I always tell journalists that if you are young, you are Ugandan or you are African, and you admire me, all you can do is climb on my shoulders in order to see a little bit further than I. And there are some people who have done that. Paul, for example, Ndiho is one of those people that I inspired at one time when I was speaking at Makerere. Another one is the one we talked about earlier called Julius Muchunguzi. He was also at Makerere, and I first met him at Kigezi High School when he was doing HSC back in 1995. And it's incredible that Julius now actually works in Marlborough House in London.
You sure?
The Commonwealth Secretariat. Yes, he does that. And he travels.
You?
Oh, yeah, he traverses around the world.
Yes,
yeah.
It is.
Mm-hmm. So I think that it is possible, it is doable, that you go out there, interact with young girls and tell them, you know what, you can be anything that you want to be, so long as you identify something that you like, something that you love with a passion, and you have the discipline, because discipline is very, very important. And you have the commitment, and you want it so bad, and you're willing to do it. You can do it. You can get anywhere you want. You know, these days you can't even talk about the expression that the sky is the limit. No, in fact, you can go beyond the sky.
Yeah, you can.
You can.
Because we have so many people who are above the sky.
Precisely.
So now, as you've been knowing that Ugandans, as Ugandan women in business, you know that in the African tradition, a woman should be at home. A woman should always be there to receive the man when he comes from work or from hunting. What do you have for women who are striving for business, but they still have the challenge of their husbands for sure giving them hard time and they cannot excel in business?
Rusia, what I can say first of all is that I beg to agree with you slightly. The Ugandan woman, or the typical African woman, is probably the most producer. They are the people who, especially the peasants really, the ordinary, women from ordinary circumstances, they are the ones who provide for the family. They are the ones who go and dig and cultivate. They are the ones that plant those beans, the potatoes, the bananas that you are using to come up with pepper and some bags. It is the women that are probably much more hardworking than the men. The only problem is the culture, because culture is patriarchal. Because it is patriarchal, the men control the products which have actually been produced by the women. Any man, I think, frankly, that does not encourage, does not do everything within his power to support or provide the necessary support to his significant other in order for that woman to do very untraditional things, so that in the end, what matters really is the income that is, that is used to support the family. Any man who doesn't see that, there must be a problem. There must be a problem, because if you go to other countries like Ghana, for example, the market women are so powerful, even politically, because they are very well organized, so much that their voices are heard. And your voice too can be heard. What you need is to sort of organize yourselves. Identify your colleagues, organize yourselves so that you can begin speaking with one voice. It will give you the power that you need.
Thank you. As we come to the close, as you're aware that in Uganda we have a challenge of middlemen. So you find women are economically striving to be better, but you find the middlemen are the classes that are benefiting every profit that should be benefiting a woman to start or to excel in doing some business. So what do you comment on having a national women market where women are involved in the selling of the produce at the national level, and we see what it can do for the women?
Rusia, that is a piece of cake. Again, as I said a little bit earlier, all you need is to mobilize and organize yourselves. Once you do that, you are empowered. You have the voice that you can speak with and use to essentially pressure the powers that be, so they can begin giving you the credit that you deserve. For example, if I were to talk to the Minister of Trade and Industry, one thing that I would ask from that minister, frankly, in Uganda is there a facility or is there a possibility of putting together a project that supports the kind of entrepreneurship that you are part of? Because the government should, for example, provide soft loans, with very low interest rates and all that kind of stuff, so that they can encourage the sort of efforts that you and your colleagues are engaged in. If that can happen, I honestly think that you can do much better. You can begin selling your stuff not only again in Kampala or in Uganda, but beyond, which is very necessary if you are going to,
So finally, as you know that a woman is a greatest giver of humanity, whether you want it or not, what message do you have for women in Uganda, in Africa, and the world at large?
Well, I would like to say that I agree with you. I normally refer to them, in fact, as God's gift to planet Earth. That is how I refer to women. And frankly, I'm reminded of my own mother, Mrs. Joyce Mushakamba, when I was a little kid, knowing nothing, without his guidance, without her nurturing me. I don't think I would have had an opportunity to meet you in Washington, D.C. today. So there's no question, frankly, that women, if anything, they mean much more than the credit that is given to them today.
So, as you're celebrating the success of every woman in every country in Africa, please be motivated that with the support of everyone, whether in politics, whether it is in business, whether it is in any other kind of society that we are working for, please enjoy the efforts of a woman, because we believe with every woman being included, whether it is in business, whether it is in positive politics that are delivering to the economies that we want, I think it is always great for every woman across the world to be at least rewarded. And that's how we can be able also to get the motivation to do mightier things for the next generations to come. I've been very privileged to see the great man I had always wanted to see, and I hope I will always report to you the positive results from Africa and also from Uganda and also the world at large. Thank you so much, and may God bless you.
Well, Rusia, I would like to correct you a little bit. I don't honestly think that I am a big man or a great man. I think that I'm a very simple person, very humble, very down to earth, but who happens to be very lucky in the sense that an ordinary person happens to find himself interacting with extraordinary circumstances.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.